Okay.
And here come the hosting duties.
Excellent. I'm gonna pretend I'm awake.
Ah. I'm only just now uploading last week's meeting, so I'll send that out to you and to Rachel and Pauline shortly. John, I thought you had a Star Trek shirt on.
Well, it is. No, it's actually a Nike thing.
Yep, yep.
Morning.
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 Morning. Morning.
Amy, I have to share my screen a couple of times. I sent you an email. I don't know if you got it.
I did, yep.
All right.
As long as you know how to do it, go ahead.
Well, we'll see. If not, I'll just hold this up. It's backwards though, isn't it? So.
No.
No.
No?
No.
Right. When I hold this up, it's
Yeah.
not backwards?
No,
No.
we see it.
Oh, it's backwards to me. Okay. Well, maybe I'll just do this rather than share my
You
screen.
clean your glasses.
Hmm?
Maybe you should clean your glasses.
No, my glasses are
kidding,
clean.
Joe.
It's the reflection.
Just kidding.
John, what rank are you in the Star Trek universe there?
Chief engineer.
Ah, Scotty.
Sorry.
There you go.
Gotcha.
Maybe I should have put the pins up on the shoulder.
Is it Scotty's birthday today or something? Is that why you're wearing it?
No, it was just that's
handy.
what I grabbed to put on this morning. You know.
Be honest, John, it's one of your favorite shirts.
I know.
Does he sleep in it?
No.
I'll never tell.
I can understand that.
We don't talk about our bedtime outfits.
Thank God for that. Aye, aye. So is everybody having a good week so far?
Yeah.
Oh, fine.
Same old, same old.
Oh, come on.
Oh. Hmm.
It was a holiday yesterday.
It's party central in Wilmot yesterday. Any reason to celebrate, I think.
Mhm.
There's Payushi.
Thank you for pronouncing that.
I think I've got it right. I'll double check. So this is the third week in a row we've had a speaker from Whitby Sunrise. It just sort of worked out that way.
Good.
Hi, Payushi.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Joe, is that your photography behind you?
No, it's not. I wish it were, but it's not. Morning, Rachel.
Morning, Joe. Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Rachel.
Hi, Kaylee.
Hey, Kaylee.
Quiet group this morning.
Nobody's awake yet.
We should probably play some background music or something before we get started.
Elevator music.
The silence is
Golden.
How was everyone's long weekend?
Excellent.
Good.
Really good.
I took my youngest to the antique shops in Orono and went record shopping yesterday. That was really fun.
Did you
find
find
any?
anything, Rachel? Anything exciting?
I did. Yeah, a couple. Some Leonard Cohen's, some mixed ones. What is it, Joe? Did you say is it K-Tel that used to do those?
They tell Ronco.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But they're fun. There's some really like a lot of Motown type stuff. Found a Led Zeppelin one for the boys. Yeah, good stuff. Neil Diamond, Hot August Nights live.
Woo-hoo. Oh, I remember having that one.
Oh yeah, that was a big win. Yeah.
I found when I was a record collector, I found it when I was in Cincinnati, I bought an album by Gary Lewis and the Playboys and brought it home. I brought it to my sister's house there, and there was something inside the jacket, inside the cover. I pulled it out, and it turns out it was a draft of the first Playboy interview given by the Beatles to a guy named Gene Shepard, who lived in Cincinnati, and you could see it comparing it to the one that was printed in the magazine. It was the same thing, only it was longer. And it was a typewritten page. It was typewritten pages, about 20 of them. And I've still got it. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it, but it's got to be worth something. There was a typo in the title. It said Playbot interview. It was done on a typewriter.
Wow.
Incredible. From like 1964 or something. So records can make you rich.
There's somebody on the call. I don't know who it is. It just comes up as a phone number.
It's me,
Who's
Hi,
me?
Jill.
Renee.
Hi. Oh, hi, Renee.
Oh, hi, Renee.
I still have problems with my computer, so I'm on the phone.
Gotcha.
I think Marion may be coming today too to see.
No,
her.
Marion is sending her regrets.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes, she's giving needles and she just ran out of time.
Okay. And Tim is supposed to do the quote of the week, but he's not here, so.
I've got it.
Oh, great.
Google's at hand.
Yeah, I'll cover that one.
Good.
All right, what time do we have, guys?
7:30.
7:32.
Okay, let me- All right, not a huge group of us this morning. Everybody's still tired from the weekend, I imagine.
Where'd that cat come from?
That's the new Rotarian.
God, yeah, hairy bugger, isn't he? Where does he put his pin?
It's on his collar.
Good man.
Morning, Jackie.
Good morning. Excited to be here.
All right, well, I think we'll get started and we'll I'll admit people as they're coming in here. So good morning, everybody, and welcome to the August 3rd meeting of the Bowmanville Rotary Club. Gearing closer and closer to in-person, we're hoping. I want to welcome everybody this morning, especially our guests. We've got Jill and Jackie and Payisha, and Kaylee's here from our summer squad. So welcome everybody. And our toast this morning to Rotary and service above self. And to, I saw you sneak that out there, Kaylee, and to Her Majesty the Queen. Dennis, you have our invocation this morning.
Yes, ma'am. This morning, it's been an invocation of relief. I got this from the Rotary site, and I think with COVID-19 hopefully becoming under control, there's a sense of relief. So the invocation is as follows. When we've been encircled by trauma, when we've been overwhelmed with grief, when we've seen the crush of horror, and when we felt the villain's teeth, when we fear so long for safety, when we've doubted our beliefs, when we've been through so much turmoil, let us celebrate relief. Let us clasp our hands together. Let us look at what's beneath. Let us work to make society where kind respect is chief.
That's a good one.
Excellent. Thank you, Dennis. Our land acknowledgement, we'd like to acknowledge that here in Bowmanville, we are on the territory covered by the Williams Treaty, and that this land is the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation. We offer our gratitude to Indigenous peoples for their care of the land and their teaching about our earth. Pauline, do we have any birthdays or anniversaries in this short couple of days?
In this short couple of days, yes, actually, Amy, Fred DeVries is celebrating his birthday today. So if you're talking to Fred, big shout out, happy birthday. And then I hope that Steve Burnett's got big plans for this weekend. Because if you don't know it yet, you've got a 28th anniversary coming up and you and Kim need to celebrate.
I'm heading north to the trailer to be with her.
Very good. And that's it, Amy. Nothing else happening this week.
Perfect. All right, Joe, I'm going to turn it over to you. You're going to be introducing and speaking with Jackie and Payisha.
I am. They'll be doing most of the speaking, but I will introduce them. I think it's safe to say that for the last 18 months or so, we have all lived lives, as Dennis has reminded us, that we've never imagined we'd be living, like something out of a dystopian novel or a chapter in a history book about the plague. Jackie Brown decided she would actually turn those experiences into a book. She's a publisher, a writer, and a writing coach, also a member of Whitby Sunrise Rotary Club, who's moved to Bowmanville. And she asked a few months ago, she asked other writers in the Durham region to send their personal reflections on the pandemic. And the result is this new book. And I'm going to share my screen if I can. Share screen, here we go. And this is it. It is called 19 Tales of COVID-19. Can everybody see that? Never sure if they're sharing that. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's called 19 Tales of COVID-19, a collection of fiction and nonfiction, the first days of the pandemic, compiled by Jackie Brown. And Jackie's with us now. Hi, Jackie.
Hello.
Along with the writer of one of those 19 tales, Payisha Dahl, a writer and blogger who lives in Curtis. Good morning to you both. And thanks for coming.
Thank you. Yes.
So Jackie, just off the top, tell us about how this got started, how and when this began.
Sure. For many years, I've been running a writing group in the Durham region. We used to meet in person, and we decided that we'd do a compilation. And I suggested it as a way of getting your first story published. For many, it was the first story. For Payisha, it was probably the third or fourth, because she's already got one or two published books. But for many, it was their very first time getting their name in print. And when we chose the name, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. At that time, we were going for a compilation with a grand theme, like redemption or something like that. This was November and December of 2019. And when we realized that was a bit too grand and kind of a bit pretentious, we decided instead that we'd write one because we planned to do one a year. So we thought, we'll write it based on what's in the news. At that time, there was this yet unnamed virus. There was nothing else in the news but this. It was, at that time, it was, a problem in China. And there were, and then as we started, getting the stories together, there's a Chinese New Year in Toronto, and that was a bust because people wouldn't go. So we decided we would write the books. We would write this book about this virus, having no idea that as we got into it, that it would turn into a pandemic and the whole world would be shut down at the same time.
Well, so Payisha, why did you want to be part of this? Why did you want to tell a story?
So I was a part of the group, and we were all, in any case, wanting to do a compilation. It was an opportunity to get together with local writers and produce something. So that was exciting enough. But then when we decided that we're writing this on COVID, it almost felt, even though at that time we didn't know it's going to last so long, it felt historical in a way, because it was already spreading across the world, and it was already something very different from what we had experienced in our lifetimes. So it was an opportunity to capture our first experiences from that time, and working with Jackie is always a pleasure. So this was something I was excited about.
Yeah, the stories are really incredible. You know, I just finished reading it. They're really run the gamut. Some of them are funny. Yours, Payisha, is, I guess it was funny, and some of them are really kind of poignant. And they run the gamut, everything from travel woes to relationships to stuff you cook, and how it affects your family. Anyway, so what I wanted to do was, Jackie wrote one of the stories. We're going to hear Payisha's in a few moments, but Jackie, can you share an excerpt from yours? And what's the chapter called? I forget what it's called. You know what your own chapter is called. Anyway,
Yes.
yeah.
So sorry, go ahead, Joe.
So, no, go ahead. And so read a bit of your own experience.
Yeah. So
just set it up a little bit first.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Mine is kind of a tongue-in-cheek story. It's called The Walking Dead: When Entertainment Turns Educational. Because, of course, The Walking Dead is a series about a pandemic that caused people to turn into zombies. And I just thought at the time there was so much in that series that could be applied to our life. How weird is that? That a show about zombies could, that there was things to learn about it. So in this section, it's, because we all wrote our stories around March. That's when most of the stories were coming in. So towards the end of March and April. So these were very early in the days of the pandemic. So I wrote, I had toilet paper, luckily. I had bought a Costco mega pack before the hoarding started, and toilet paper became hard to get. By the time I needed to buy more, it could be reliably found on grocery shelves again, and stores were restricting how much you could purchase per visit. So last time out, I bought the 2-pack maximum, each pack containing loads of rolls of the best 2-ply going. But the reason I had to head out this week, 2 weeks later, was embarrassing. As much as I've tried, I had not been able to like regular old tap water after being spoiled by drinking packaged spring water. And now our well, contained in heavy 15 to 18 liter returnable plastic bottles, was dry. So I had to venture out to find some more. Brave little old me. And studies showed that I was not alone in feeling dread and that I was close to the edge. My pretty pink Prestige tablets could only do so much to keep my anxiety at bay. Perhaps this clinical mental health challenge was the source of my very real fear. I recall how I gripped the steering wheel and cried as I drove home after my first experience of empty shelves and very long checkout lines at the supermarket. That day, the pandemic changed from a problem in Wuhan, China, to a crisis in my own town. I was in shock. Through my car speakers, I heard our leaders announce that all non-essential businesses were to close. We needed to go home and plan to stay indoors. My parents and my siblings do not live close by, and I do not know my neighbors. I did honestly, though briefly, wonder if I needed to buy a gun. It was too much responsibility. How would I, a single mother, keep my 4 kids safe? Perhaps it was anxiety, but I wondered, in the words of that suicidal CDC doctor in the show, is this our extinction event? Yeah, part of my story.
Wow. Yeah, I remember, I'm sure a lot of people remember sort of hearing the news and crying, and freaking out and wondering where we were going with all this. So those were some really tense days, and thank you for that. Payisha, you had somewhat different take on it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've done and read some of it?
Sure. So mine was written a little bit later, when we were coming to the end of the first, what we now know is the first quarantine. And at that time, UK was going into its second wave. And so it was just very, very hypothetical that Canada may have a second wave. It sounded crazy at that time. It wasn't something that most people believed will happen. But I started thinking about the fact that the first time we went into a quarantine, absolutely unprepared, no one knew for 3 months you would not want to step out of the house. But here was an opportunity to possibly plan for a second wave and a second quarantine. And I prepared a checklist to prepare for the next pandemic, but it's not really very serious. It was written in a light tone. And what set it off was a conversation I heard on a radio about the fact that people were out looking for partners because some of them got really lonely in the first wave. So they wanted to settle with someone before the next time. So I'll read a little bit from this. Heaven forbid we live through another quarantine. However, if we do, this time we would want to be better prepared for a life bound by four walls. Be it a second wave of COVID or another kind of virus, here is a checklist that can help you get ready for the next pandemic. First, create space for pandemic essentials. Even before we begin with the list of things you will want to stock for a life in quarantine, begin by creating space in your closets. Walk through your house and scan for things you did not use during the first quarantine. These are the things that need to go. Once you've emptied a couple of closets, mark one as pandemic pantry and another one for other pandemic essentials. Then move on to the rest of the list. Second, stock up on hobby supplies. Make sure you pick up a pandemic hobby project well in advance so that you have enough time to gather all the supplies you will need. If the new hobby is baking, buy your measuring cups, store away some muffin pan liners, baking pans, and parchment paper. As you come closer to the news of a virus hacking its way through a country, don't wait for it to cross borders. Hop into the closest grocery store and pick up the biggest packet of flour and yeast you can lay your hands on. If knitting is going to be your next big thing, stash away a ton of yarn and bring every possible size of needle you may need. Gardening, you say? Grab a couple of bags of soil and every kind of seed you would want to experiment with. To be safe, also stock up on ribbons, marker pens, glitter, glue, colored paper, and paints in case you have any unexpected artistic cravings during the pandemic. The third one was the one inspired by the radio. Get a partner or a pet. If loneliness was one of your biggest problems in Pandemic 1.0, start looking for a boyfriend or girlfriend before Pandemic 2.0. Some of the things you will want to consider is that your new partner does not have annoying habits, but does have similar tastes in food. You will want one that can keep you entertained for a couple of weeks or months. Choose well, because you don't want to be stuck in a house with someone who irks you. And then I'll skip across to this one. It says, invest in grooming essentials. If you are going to be stuck inside without basic grooming services, you will want to get your hair colored, your shellac nail paint freshened up, and your legs waxed. Refill your bath closet with razor blades, tampons, and toothpaste. Men may want to invest in a beard trimmer or a hair trimmer. After all, you need to remain presentable for those inevitable video conferences. And then I'll skip to the end. So I end by saying, bring on the booze. If you lived through Pandemic 1.0, you would have noticed the queues outside liquor stores, which were often longer than those outside grocery stores. Clear up some space in your cellar so you can store cases of booze. These items usually have a best before date nearly a century away. Bottles of wine and cans of beer will be put to good use as you loll about on your couch watching Netflix. Add a couple of boxes of popcorn to the haul while you're at it. For those of you who have learned the art of online socializing, you will want a glass of wine in your hands as you attend online concerts, parties, and weddings. A bottle of tequila for those particularly depressing days will not be remiss. Finally, get some champagne for the day the social distancing measures are lifted and you are allowed to resume your life.
Thank you.
Well done. That was great. So that's one of, I guess those are two of the 17 stories in the 19 tales available from Jackie, or I guess, how do people get the book, Jackie?
Mainly through Amazon. The print and ebooks are available there. And yeah, support your local writers.
Very
Because,
cool.
yeah, it helps us to because our full aim in doing this was that is that for us local writers working together, we can make this book go further than we could working on our own.
Yeah, and there's some unbelievable, like the number of writers we have here in the Durham region,
Yeah.
really accomplished writers is really something. I just wanted to share my screen one more time, sorry, because I wanted to just make a bit of a turn here. I'm going to share this. Just a second. I'm going to share this again. Sorry. Let me see here. How can I do this? There we are. Okay, I'm going to share this. Can people see this?
Yes, I think so. Yep.
Okay. Outfox, can people see
Yep.
Outfox there?
Yep.
Jackie, tell us about Outfox. This is one of your projects.
Yes, Outfox magazine is written for kids on the autism spectrum. There's a lot about them and little that is directly produced for them. And so as you can see in the tagline there, it says celebrating, encouraging, and inspiring diversity and acceptance. And each page does just that. And we're on our 20th issue. And in this 20th issue, we're kind of going back and looking at the prototype and making changes based on revised suggestions from our kind of support team. And this magazine is for kids who are cognitively aged between 8 and 12. And the other thing that's fabulous about it is that other youth on the spectrum are involved either in writing the magazine. We have illustrators, we have a photographer, and we have a designer who is involved when she can be. So it's a truly diverse team that creates this, expanding that to include neurodiversity. Very proud of this.
Yeah, isn't that wonderful? Yeah, we're lucky to have you, and I guess that community is lucky to have you. And how's it? What has it been like? I know one of the things that we have a respite care program, and we've had to sort of suspend that. And it's for kids with special needs. We've had to suspend the in-person part of that for the last 2 summers. What's it been like for services for kids on the spectrum?
Well, a lot of what kids on the spectrum like is routine. So, being out of school, and especially when they were telling, getting kids to go and then come back, go and come back, that was more difficult than staying away. I know for a number of kids that being home was easier, although not on their parents. and in terms of, and so many parents relied on the respite of school. For one thing, but also of other services. So it's been tremendously difficult I can't, I have a colleague, one of her sons is, he's gifted and goes to U of T, and he's one of the writers in the magazine, and she has 3 kids on the spectrum, and she has a blog going so that she started from day 1, day 2, and so on under lockdown. And the challenges she faced being a single mom with 3 kids with a lot of needs, was very, very challenging to her own mental health, as well as just the abilities to keep her kids engaged. And it's just unimaginable at times.
Yeah, well, hopefully things will be a little better as we hit
definitely.
September this year. Amy, I'll turn it back to you. And I don't know if there were questions or comments or anything, but thank you very much for joining us. And I don't know.
Well, thanks,
anybody have anything?
Are there any questions?
Thank you so much for having us. It's been exciting to have an opportunity to share our tale.
Can I ask one more question?
Of course.
Yes.
Becky, if somebody wants to be a writer, what should they do?
Well, I help people in light and more concentrated ways. And the most fun way is to join we've changed the name. It used to be the Durham Writer Society, but with things online, it's now wider than just Durham. And so it's, writers who come and talk about what they'd like to do. It's every other Thursday. There's also a meeting on Monday at noon. The Thursday meetings are in the evening. And we support writers as a community. Although I facilitate it, we all, support each other, whether you're a beginner or seasoned like Payisha with several books published. So
And not everybody who, I guess, joins your club is a professional writer. Some people are, I don't know, bus drivers or
everyone.
moms or secretaries or whatever.
Yeah, everyone has a day job. Like Payisha runs the Tutor Doctor, where she tutors kids in K to, I guess, preschool right through to grade 12 and beyond. So everyone has a day job. And so actually only one writer that I know who comes to the club occasionally is a full-time writer. So everyone is an amateur. And as long as you call yourself a writer because you like to write, some are working on projects, some are just coming because they like to write.
Everyone's thinking, do they have a book in them or do they want to write? Yeah, I am.
Yeah, increasingly there's avenues to do so.
Thanks for coming, both of you.
Thanks.
You're welcome to stick around.
Thank you.
Yeah, as Joseph, you're welcome to stick around. Thank you again for coming, and yeah, support the local writers. We are now Happy Bucks. Sorry we missed it last week. So anybody happy? Boy, oh, Fred.
Yeah, I was disappointed over the past few weeks that we didn't have Happy Bucks, but thank goodness you saved us again, President Amy. Yeah, I was really pleased. I got a couple of phone calls myself over the last couple of weeks. One from Chris Christodoulou, just to say hello and see how my wife and I were doing out here. He was rather worried about us because I'm older than he is, so I guess he was wondering if he could get invited up for coffee and cake. And then in our conversation, I asked him, prior to that rather, I asked him, I called him up and said, do you own a TV, et cetera, et cetera? We just bought a new one. I could use a hand getting it out of the box because it was such a big sucker, 55-inch. And I have trouble handling a teacup. But at any rate, Chris says, yeah, I'll be up there in a half an hour. So he brought his wife up. We put the TV on, and the next thing we had banana cake, and I'd made a nice banana loaf, and he went down, got inoculated, and it was a great morning. So we've become quite close lately, and it was really nice. The other thing was I talked to Chuck Catron and Ross Metcalf, and they're both doing really well, as everybody knows, or if you don't, now you will. They're both nonagenarians, so they're in their 90s and hanging on to the rope. That's it. I was really happy about that, and I think I'm gonna catch up on all my weekly Happy Bucks. I'll have a donation to make to the club when we get back to the meeting. Maybe a little bit more than $2.
I see you, Wayne.
Yes, this past Saturday, I had a very happy hour and a half with one of our new members, and Andrew Sawi. And I got to tell you, he's kind of a guy that can inspire you, but his background and what he experienced growing up is nothing short of phenomenal. And I think it would be great if at some time that Andrew felt comfortable with it, that maybe he could share that with the members. It certainly was an eye-opener for me, but it was an absolutely enjoyable time in the coffee shop. And thank you very much, Andrew Shawi.
You beat me to it because I was going to talk about you. So thank you.
I love that we're still being able to, connect with each other, and and thanks, Fred, for updating us. Every time I drive up to Hampton, I think I should call Ross and Judy and see, and then life happens. So, oh, hi, Joe. Yep.
Yeah, am I allowed to do a Happy Buck even though I talk incessantly?
Of course.
I just want to follow up on what Wayne was saying about Andrew. I had the pleasure, and I don't know if Andrew knows her, and I don't know if Andrew grew up there, but I had the pleasure of having a wonderful and long conversation with the president of Andrew's other club, Catherine, in Sonde, Uganda. And it was a window into a life that it's as ours, it's, you know, it's a life of a Rotarian, but the work that they're doing on the ground is really powerful to hear about the kind of work that they're doing in their own backyard, where, you know, they, until 10 years ago, they had no running water, you know, and she, through the, you know, the community, they actually got some running water. And the work that they're doing right on the ground, it's so immediate and so impressive that they're doing that. And, you know, I'm not sure what Andrew told Wayne about his upbringing, but when I spoke with her, one of the things that really jumped out at me, and she lives in like a subdivision, is there were roosters crowing in the background. Quite a different life, but I was, without Rotary, I never would have had a conversation with this woman, this wonderful woman who's working to help her own community in Uganda. And it was quite a joy to be able to speak with her. And Andrew knows her well.
Yeah, and I understand that we're also going to have the
Yes, we
pleasure
are.
to know her a little better in a few weeks. So that's exciting for us.
Yeah, I kind of buried the lead. Yeah, we're going to be speaking to her in a few weeks.
Yeah. You know, if we have to try and take something positive out of this COVID, I think we mentioned it last week too, the fact that, you know, we're able to talk to these people around the world. And without Zoom, that would have never happened. So try and find the silver lining. Okay, if there's no other happy bucks, Jen Turner, I'm going to pass it over to you so you can let us know a little bit more about this wonderful senior in our community.
Thanks so much, Amy. Can everyone hear me all right? I don't have the same audio problems as last time. Okay, good. So I'm here to introduce one of the projects that our club has been involved with for a few years now. And it's the campaign to build the new Durham Hospital in Newcastle. Earlier this summer, the woman behind it was honored for her community work as Clarington's Senior of the Year for 2021. Most of you know her already. I unfortunately don't, though I'm looking forward to getting to know her. Her name is Jill Richardson. Besides the hospice, her community work includes a program called Windfall Clothing and Newcastles of the World, which I am familiar with. It's a conference that they hold in Newcastle where they bring together Newcastles of the world, different communities with the same name. She's been to our meetings before, and we wanted to invite her back to talk to us about the award that she's just received and to get an update on what's happening with the hospice. Congratulations, Jill, on your award.
Thank you.
So how did you find out that you were named Senior of the Year?
I had a phone call from Heather, who is Adrian Foster's assistant. She just called and said, "You've been named the Senior of the Year." And I wanted to change the word senior. So that's the way I found out. And I asked who had, like, how did this happen? And apparently Adrian himself was involved. And then Willie Wu, who I have been working with now for the last 8 years, wrote a testimonial. That's all I know about it.
Okay.
Yes.
And what does it mean to you to be given this award?
I think it's one of the nicest things that have happened to me in my life, to be honored. I'm humbled by it. Most important, it means to me that there is going to be someday a hospice here in Clarington, because that was that obviously wasn't my purpose when I worked on a charity in Toronto, but in the same token, it's incredibly important to me that there will be a hospice. So if I had to be chosen as Senior of the Year and had to keep working at this, that's just absolutely fine.
So for the benefit of our members who maybe don't know your story, could you let us know what's behind your passion for the hospice in Newcastle?
My husband died 9 years ago of cancer, and he was here at home, and I do live here on Lake Ontario in the Port of Newcastle. And it got to the point where he was so weak that I could no longer help him all by myself. Now, when I say all by myself, it wasn't really. There were people coming through the door all the time, whether it be PSWs, nurses, doctors, many different people. He went to get up out of his ejectable chair, which comes from Shoppers Drug Mart, and it pretty well made him stand up. However, he hollered and said, I can't get up. I went in and of course helped him up, but after a couple of times having to help him up from different things, I just sat down one day and said, I can't do this any longer. What are the options? The option was to go to Bowmanville Hospital, which he did. And a hospital is for fixing people. It's not for people dying. And 9 days, 8-9 days in the hospital, all I want you to know is he did not die with dignity. He was shuffled from room to room. The final night that he was still alive, he did have his own room. I had my own bed to be there too. So he did die. We suffered from grief. You suffer from anger. You suffer from all those steps that they talk about. And after thinking about it for a while, I said, there's got to be something better. And if my husband, Terry, who was a pretty special person, did not get that if I worked at it, maybe other people would not have to do that. So I called up Willie Wu because it was the only person or name I had heard. I'd only lived here for 3 years. And I sent him an email actually. And 20 minutes later, my phone rang and it was Willie saying, Mrs. Richardson, we need to talk. And we did, along with his wife, Donna. And they brought in, and I think most of you know her, Marion Timmermans, and the four of us went from there. So that's the beginning of the story, began 8 years ago. You do not have time to listen to 8 years of what we went through to finally have a spot somewhere here in Clarington to build a hospice. So that's my story. I was always very, very much taken with June Colwood in Toronto, who built the AIDS place, Casey House, and also a home for unwed mothers. And every time I saw her at a charity event in Toronto, I would walk up to her and say, you are my hero. So I figured if she could do it, I could do it out here. And that's what's happened.
So where are we now with the hospice? You say it's been going on for 8 years.
It has.
What's the latest update?
Well, we were going to put the shovel in the ground in the spring. And all of a sudden, COVID happened. Not only COVID happened, most of you probably know that the price of wood and many building materials skyrocketed. And when you multiply that times 18,000 square feet, it turns out to be more money than what we had planned on. So we have enough money to build the hospice, but there are other things involved, and one being, of course, furnishing it. And then we wanted to, in the end, when all was said and done, have a couple of years of funding where we didn't have to be out there begging for money or asking for money all the time. So here's where we're at. We decided to not put that shovel in the ground until next spring. It was supposed to be September, based on the fact that things had gone up so high. And by the way, wood is coming down again. As well as if you're building in the winter time, it costs more. So that we're trying to honor all these people that have given us so much money use their money as wisely as possible. So begrudgingly, I would say, we put a hold till next spring. So what we have left to raise is $2 million. That will completely sort of do all those things that I just referred to. In the fall, we have 7 developers right now that will be going to tender as far as who's going to build the hospice. So that will, they have been chosen. It goes to tender. They all do whatever they have to do, come back with a price, and we will choose the developer, actually the developer that can do it for the least amount of money. So that's where we're at as far as the hospice is concerned. There are small events going on right now. Lloyd Johnson here in Newcastle goes to Bond Head every Sunday and sings gospel songs with his group. One of them being Margaret Swart, our counselor, and apparently Ron Hooper was there the last time too. So we're pulling in as many people to that, and people just walk up to a guitar case and drop money in for that. Lloyd tonight will be singing, or some other people will be singing at the Newcastle Community Hall. The money is going from that to the hospice too. There was a garage sale held in Newtonville on one street, and at the end of 2 days, they had raised $3,000. So there will be, we still have some big developers to ask to help us, but decided that needs to be done face to face. So we're waiting for that to be able to happen too. Basically, I think that's the update on the hospice right now. I'm sure all of you know that it will be on Cobbledick Road. There is a sign up now saying coming soon. We should add more to that soon, I guess, as we've had to delay, but that's normal for something like this. So patience is a virtue, and all I'm going to say is there will be a hospice. However, we still need help, very much so. I can't tell, one of the things I think everyone needs to know, and you might know this already, to stay in a hospital every day, it's about $1,100. To stay in a hospice, it's about $480. So you're saving money there. The government gives the hospital 80% of their funding. The government gives a hospice 20% of their funding. So it's much more difficult for us to get as much as we need than it is for a hospital.
Do you have plans for any larger kinds of fundraisers this
well,
fall and into next year?
There is one that will be held in November, virtual, and it has all but last year, one called Handbags for Hospice. And it will be virtual this year, but they have an auctioneer who comes, and there are silent auctions, there are live auctions, and that's happening on November the 17th, I think. Oh, the other thing that's happening, the Mayor's Golf Tournament this year on September the 9th, all money from that will go to the hospice too as well. So there are things going on all the time. The biggest event, Handbags for Hospice, that money is split between Clarington and Whitby, because they will be both using the same service to run the hospice, and that's VON.
Okay. I'll turn it over to the membership to see if anyone has any questions for Jill. Joe.
Sure. I always, how many beds is the hospice going to have when it's?
It's going to have 9, Joe. In the beginning, it was 5. And then the ministry came up with another, let me think. We got 4, another 7 rooms. all 3 hospice or any hospice in the area could bid on it. And we ended up getting 4 of those rooms. So we will now will be a 9-bed hospice. And Port Perry got 3 of those rooms. So we were lucky to get those extra rooms. We will be building an extra room, number 10, but it will not be furnished for now.
Thanks.
There are 3 hospices in Durham. And by the way, Durham is the biggest county, if I'm not mistaken, in Ontario, and the only county without a hospice at the moment. Oh, it does have one now. Port Perry's up and running.
All right. Well, Jill, much deserved award for you. You know, you've been tirelessly working to get this hospice, and as somebody in the funeral industry, trust me, I understand how important it is.
Funeral industry. Okay.
I've often had people that come through our doors that have had hospice deaths, but not obviously in Durham, and the support and the care and the peacefulness is so important, and very, very lacking. So yeah, congratulations on all the work that you've done. You and Marion and Willie and Donna are a force to be reckoned with. So
yeah, well, there are a few others out there, Amy, too, that are a force to be reckoned with too, since all of this happened. So
yeah,
it takes, a lot, you know, fundraisers that are there and people that have come on board after twisting their arms a little bit, but thank you for that. I am humbled by the award. The award will probably be even more important to me when that shovel goes in the ground. And I hope all of you will be there to see that shovel go in the ground, because I sure as heck will be.
We certainly want to be, that's for sure.
All right. Yeah. Yes, for sure. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. Okay, so we have some time for some announcements. Kaylee, I would like to turn it over to you to start, because you guys have been busy, and I know we've had some things rescheduled. So if you want to sort of fill us in as to what's upcoming for the summer squad.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So as Amy said, a couple of our events have been canceled due to the weather, but we've been able to reschedule them all, which is great. So the Holistic Day will be happening this Friday, and it's taking place at Hope Fellowship Church in Curtis. I believe Doriana is looking for a couple more volunteers, just since the event changed dates. Some of the original volunteers are now unable to make it. And that day, the event starts at 10 a.m. and there's going to be 2 time slots. So there's one in the morning, and then there's going to be one that falls in the afternoon. And then the talent show is happening on Saturday at Rotary Park. We have a bunch of amazing acts, so we're really excited to see it all come together. We have Art in the Park on Sunday morning from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. So there's going to be tie-dye, rock painting, and chalk drawing. So we are encouraging families to sign up for this because we're only planning on buying enough of the materials to that we need, just so nothing really gets wasted. And Shekinah is asking for 5 volunteers for this event, just to help with the flow of traffic and organizing everything. So right after the Art in the Park, we have the dog show, which is taking place from 2 to 5. So there's a little bit of time in between. We're still looking for participants for this. So if you want to sign up with your pet, that would be awesome. Your pet would get to walk across the stage, and there's going to be judges that will be judging them based on a couple of categories. Yeah, I think it'll be really fun. And then the retirement concert is moved to next Tuesday because that was rained out. Unfortunately, we still can't have any spectators from the public just with COVID restrictions and limited space, but the concert's going to be outside, which is exciting. We can get all of the residents that want to come watch out of their rooms and to come watch in the garden. So that'll be great. And then lastly, we've scheduled our water bottle drive. So this is going to be For Life, the organization that we work with every Wednesday. We're hoping to get donations of cases of water bottles, like the 24 packs. Water is something that life really needs because they give it out every single day. And especially during the summer, it's pretty hot a lot of the days. And we are noticing that a lot of the clients were asking for as much water as they were allowed, which usually they just get one, but most of them are asking for two, and they don't like to deny people water. So I think that they're going through water bottles a lot faster, especially in the summer. So yeah, we thought it would be a great way to give back to them. And I think that's everything for updates for us.
So can you fill us in, Kaylee, as to where we can donate water?
Oh yeah, sorry. It's gonna be taking place at Watson's, and it's on August 17th from 12 to 6.
August 17th. All right. Well, you guys have not had much luck with the weather.
No.
But you're doing a great job, so keep up the good work. Did you ever get some good judges for the dog show?
I think we did, yes. I think a couple Rotarians have signed up.
Good.
We did have Chris Christodoulou, but he had to step down. So certainly if you want to judge these pets, send an email to the summer squad, because they might still need some, because I think I know the one Rotarian that signed up had to drop out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Okay, well, good job, ladies. And yeah, hopefully we'll see a lot of us out there this weekend. You guys have a jam-packed weekend, Friday, Saturday.
I know, 4 events in the 3 days. It'll be busy.
Yeah. All right. Phil, I don't know if I saw an email that came through from Chris Zelasco. So nothing's, I think, firmed up absolutely 100%, but as of right now, we are still a possible go for our drive-through ribs and brews, which it's going to be the 19th to the 21st. Is that, or of August? Is that the right weekend?
That is correct.
Okay. So I don't know, Phil, can you update us at all as to where we're at, or?
Yep. So where we're at right now is that the municipal permits have been submitted, the applications have been submitted, and we're waiting on the town to come back. On Thursday or Friday of this week, we updated the plan with information relating to sanitization and an updated route map and kind of what we're doing to direct traffic and all of that. So we're just now waiting on approvals. We're going to have a meeting with the town in the coming days just to go over the final details, but so far so good.
Perfect. So if this is a go, which we're seriously hoping it is, Rotarians, get ready, because we're going to need a lot of help in a short amount of time. So yeah, all hands on deck. Is there anybody else who has any announcements? Oh, John?
Yeah, just a couple of quick things to mention. Anybody that's become a member during the last 2 years, there's a couple of seminars online by district for new members. The details you can get off the district site, but it's on August the 25th from 7 in the evening till 8 in the evening. You would get to know more about Rotary than you have so far been told about. So I can recommend new members go on that. The last thing, Rotary Learning or Leadership Institute. They're starting courses soon, again, online. I know one of our members, Rachel, she took the courses. She can at least give you an opinion of whether she feels they were worthwhile. If you are considering taking a board position or the presidency of the club, or thinking about district positions, it is definitely worthwhile taking part in these institute courses. Rachel, you want to make a comment?
Oh, I just want to say, just go for it. It's fun. You meet great people, and there's 3 segments, so you might sign up. You don't have to. I just did it all because that's what I do, but you don't have to. You can pick and choose what segments you want to go to, and you do. You meet great people at other clubs, and just go for it. If you've got the time, go for it. It's usually once a week for an hour and a half, and it'll be a couple weeks in a row.
Yeah, I also took the leadership ones and did the new members courses as well. The great thing about them is you just meet all these other people from all these clubs, and hearing what they do, hearing what everyone's doing at the different clubs is really inspirational. And, you know, it sort of makes you want to do stuff, you know, just gives you inspiration to go for for the types of things you want to do too. It's great. I would recommend it to any new members or any members who just want to get more involved.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah. Also, John, I don't know if you want to mention the conference next spring. There's still discounts for people who want to who want to get involved in that, who want to go to it. What is it, John? 249, I think, for the discount right now. Yeah.
Yeah. The good thing about this conference, you know, the other district conferences over the past few years have been fairly far away and long way to travel. This conference is actually in Oshawa, right in our doorstep. You wouldn't have to stay in the hotel. Having said that, I can recommend it because the social times are really good. But please consider going to the district conference. All the information is on the district website. And as Joe said, currently there is a discount. If you leave it much longer, you won't have that discount.
Yeah, so the cost of the conference is $299 a person. Right now, for the first 100 that sign up before September 1st, it's $249. And it was one of the presidential goals is that we're hoping to have at least 12 of us in attendance at the conference. So like John said, it's literally in Oshawa. There's no expense, you know, here and there. So yeah. All right. I had something else on my mind and I didn't write it down. So whew, there it goes. Is there any other announcements? Oh, I know what I was going to say, John, about the new members. It doesn't have to be new members. Like
no, anybody can go on the call.
Yeah, yeah. So,
I mean, everyone thinks that they know all there is to know about Rotary, but believe me, we don't. When I started to get involved in district, it blew me away how much I didn't know. Go on this little seminar, it's only an hour, and you will know much more by the time it's finished, believe me.
Yeah. All right, so we're a bit early today, but that's okay. It's Tuesday, we got to get up and get going to school or to work. Yeah, my son just finished summer school, so I'm still in school mode. Fred, can you give us Tim's quote of the week? You're muted though, Fred. Fred.
Okay, and now I'm muted. Just let me open this up and I've got it written down here. Sorry, I was prepared and then I wasn't because she shut down. It's quicker over here. Just a second. Bear with me. Oh, God. What is There we are. I think I'll get her now. Yeah, this was provided by Tim Function. If as a political party does not have its foundation, just a second here, it just jumped. If as a political party does not have its foundation in the determination to advance a cause that it's that is right and moral, then it's not a political party at all. It's merely a conspiracy to seize power. Guess who said that? I don't think you ever will. Dwight D. Eisenhower, March the 6th, 1956.
Very good.
That was it. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Tim. Yeah, so we're we're going to be right on time here. So in accordance with our 4-way test, we strive to help people. It's what we do. But in order to give of yourself to others, you must first have something to give. So enjoy your life, have fun, be good to yourself. And as Theodore Roosevelt said, do what you can with what you have where you are. So if there's nothing else for the good of Rotary, we will adjourn this meeting and we'll see everybody next week. Thanks, everybody.
Bye,
Thank you for
y'all.
having me.
Thanks, Jill.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Jill. Well done.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Excellent. Have a great week.